So, can Bitcoin break resistance? And what is this resistance of which we speak? Let's start off by looking at the daily chart. Now, on this daily chart, I do have the 20-day moving average, the 30 and the 55-day moving averages. Now, I'm going to start off by pulling a fib. So I'm going to draw a Fibonacci retracement level on this daily Bitcoin chart. Zooming out and looking at these key areas, we shouldn't be too surprised to understand why Bitcoin is struggling to get past this $44,000 mark. There was a struggle back a year ago, February 2021, and we can see it took a good month for Bitcoin to pull out of this resistance zone. And when it was able to break out of this resistance zone, this was the outcome. Same thing happened last summer again. After this massive nosedive, Bitcoin, in recovering, struggled again at this same point. Once it was able to break out with this big green candle right here, and after a nice crossover of these three EMAs, again, we had this nice bullish movement. Now, this is the one that took us to $69,000. History is repeating itself again. And since the start of 2022, after this massive nosedive all the way down to historic lows, again, as Bitcoin is recovering, it's having problems at this area. So what is this area of which we speak? We are talking about this 61.8% Fibonacci level. It is one of the strongest levels you're going to find when you've drawn your Fibonacci levels against your price action. Little wonder that we're struggling at this point. So $44,186. This is the price level we need Bitcoin to break out of. But looking historically, once we have these three crossovers, even though we did have some retracement, again, it didn't fall below the EMAs, but ultimately Bitcoin went on a bull run. Again, we have the crossovers over here. So we have the crossover, we have the break above the 61.8% fib, but the only difference here is we do not have these crossovers yet. And what we see again is this nice bull run. So this is the bull run that took us to Bitcoin's all-time highs of $69,000. It's happening again, guys. History is repeating itself. We still have a little way to go to see that nice bull run that we're all waiting anxiously for. Anything could happen. But what I would project would happen based on historical data, I would expect to see price action come back down, possibly down to the 61 again to retest that level before heading up. Now, taking a sneak peek at the weekly chart, I mean, don't let anybody fool you to say we're in a bear market, because this price action that I am looking at is as bullish as it comes. So it's always good to get a bird's eye view by looking on the higher time frame. So again, we're on the weekly Bitcoin chart, and all I see is that Bitcoin has managed to pull not just a higher high, but in addition to that, also a higher low. Now that's important. Now this higher low is ever so slight, but it's significant. Now, if I draw this within a parallel channel, let's see what we come up with. Drawing a parallel channel on our weekly Bitcoin chart gives us this. And what does it show? It simply shows that price action is ultimately moving up. So we can expect to see quite a bit of trading within this channel. We hit about $76,000 here, 76, 77,000, come back possibly all the way down again to 44K and keep it up. Now, take note, at any point in time, Bitcoin can decide to go parabolic at this point, or this point. And by the same token, it can also decide to break down out of the channel. Now, if we superimpose a Fibonacci extension tool right over this last impulsive move, and we go from here to here and pull it down, okay, and what we have is an ultimate breakout at about this $100,000 area of confluence. Now, we can attain this $100,000 Bitcoin price level sooner if Bitcoin decides to go parabolic at any point at which is at the upper end of this parallel channel. Or it could take as long as necessary hitting these channel highs and lows. If we pull this even further out, like this, okay. So when we look at it zoomed further out, we can see in the grand scheme of things, Bitcoin can ultimately go beyond this 200,000 point. Question is, how long is it going to take to get to it? And you can see even clearer that this is definitely bullish price action in spite of these very steep dips that we just seem to be creeping out of. All in all, the price action is looking very, very bullish. So if at any point you're thinking of going bullish on Bitcoin, then you definitely want to wait for these periods where it comes close to the bottom of this parallel channel. Now, looking at volume is always a critical indicator when trying to forecast any type of price action. In this first bull run here, we had volume. So if we look at the kind of volume we saw during this massive bull run back here, we've still got room for improvement. So that's why we really have to watch this space for price action to stay above the 55 EMA. It's important that we see a crossover to the upside of these 3 EMAs. It's also important that we see volume. If we compare the volume we had during this previous bull run to what we have now, it looks like we still have a way to go before Bitcoin can decide to break out, stay above the 55 moving average, and gather enough momentum to keep its upward movement going. So in summary, I wouldn't put any trades in at this moment. I would wait to see price action break above this critical area of resistance before putting in a trade for a long position.